Just to explain some glimpses of digestive system. Digestive system starts from the mouth and ends in the anus. So, if as a gross understanding, if you can start basic understanding like this, it's more than enough. So, starts from the mouth. From the mouth, there is a oral cavity, teeth, tongue. There are salivary glands which will secrete saliva. So, in the mouth, what you do, you eat food, you cut, grind, mix it with saliva, make it like a paste, and then you take it at the back of your throat and then you swallow. The moment you swallow, the voluntary control of the mouth cavity is done. So after you swallow, it is not under your control. So that is nervous system. It's not under your control. So now that is called as swallowing reflex. Once you swallow, the food pipe, what it will do, the swallowed content, which we call it as bolus, it will take from the upper part of the esophagus till the stomach area by series of movement called as peristalsis. Wave-like movement called as peristalsis. So upper part of the food area, the lower part will get dilated, upper part will contract. So that will push the food in forward, and then this part will contract, and then it will push the food towards the stomach. Once the food is in the stomach will give around 30 minutes to 45 minutes to do a chemical and as well as a physical digestion. So initial part of the digestion actually starts with the mouth itself, like dextrose or glucose will get absorbed from the mouth. So second is in the stomach. What stomach does, we take all the food which might have contaminated. So the stomach will pour the acid onto the surface of food, and it will thoroughly mix with the mechanical movement of the stomach and stomach musculature, and it will move and it will mix with the hydrochloric acid. Hydrochloric acid is an acid, so it will burn all the bacteria, viruses, or any abnormal things which is having, it will burn. But it will not burn the stomach itself. If stomach itself it will burn, it is called as ulcer. So it will not burn the stomach content, but it will burn the food. It will make it into smaller pieces and it will send it to the next level, that is your duodenum. That is the first part of the small intestine. Duodenum, jejunum and ileum, these three parts. In this small intestine, there are small structures. The surface area of the small intestine is smaller, but when you are studying in detail, you will get to know. But there are multiple crypts in the small intestine which will increase the surface area. So all the digestive process of carbohydrate, protein, fat will complete in the small intestine. In the first part of duodenum, the content of the pancreas and the liver will get poured into the surface of the food which is come out of the stomach. We call it as saponification. It will make it even food where the surface area of the food will be available for the chemical digestion, enzymatic digestion. So different enzymes at the different areas from the duodenum to the ileum. This will complete the absorption where the required nutrients of the body will get absorbed from the body, and the unabsorbed part will move out to the next level. So next level is the cecum, or the first part of large intestine. Cecum, ascending colon, transverse colon, descending colon, sigmoid colon, rectum and anus. So in this ascending colon, main work what will happen is the liquidy part of undigested food will become a solidified, semi-solid contents by having absorption of water. So another process is salt and vitamins and few other components which are needed for the body from this part of the large intestine will absorb, and due to wave-like movements, that is called as seculations. So wave-like movement, it will get passed to the next level, to the transverse colon, descending colon, then it will go into the sigmoid colon. When the undigested waste material comes to the level of rectum, we have a sensation of as if I need to go for the defecation, excretion. And then it is a temporary reservoir, rectum, and then we will evacuate in the form of excretion. So this is a complete introduction of digestive system from the mouth to the anus. So supportive organs are your liver and the pancreas, which will secrete the enzymes required for the digestion. So when you study in detail, we'll go at each level, like in mouth, what are the components, in the esophagus, annanala, what are the components, in the stomach, what are the components, each one of them we'll study. may not be in detail, but in its innate structure, you will study those function structure of that, and you will get to know, and you will be able to correlate with the yogic part. One example I would like to give is when you do the Vamanadauti. Vamanadauti is cleansing of upper GI. Upper GI is stomach, and above is upper GI. Stomach and first part of small intestine, and below is a lower GI. GI means gastrointestinal tract, GI tract. So when you are drinking lot of water, you are bulging the stomach wall. There is a stretch reflex. When the stomach is getting stretched by continuous drinking of lukewarm, salty water, it will irritate the stomach mucosa. So the temperature, change in the temperature, stretching of the stomach wall, and the salt content. So it will irritate the stomach mucosa. It will send signal to the brain saying that okay, something is not okay. Then the stomach initiates a reflex called as it is opposite of the peristaltic movement. So anti-peristaltic movement. Content of the stomach will be thrown out of the mouth. So last part, what you are going to use for Vamanadauti is gag reflex. You will take a finger and touch the lower part of the uvula part, or the back of the soft palate you will touch. Soft palate you will touch, it will initiate a reflex called as a gag reflex. So gag reflex, stretch reflex, the anti-peristalsis reflex, it will make you vomit it out. So by vomiting you are vomiting this in the early morning where there is no food in the stomach. So it will actually clean the surface of mucosa, and after that you will take a khichdi or some bland diet, not spicy, non-salty diet, so that you will replace the stomach mucosa. So this is how a beautiful aspect of a kriya can be correlated with anatomy and physiology. So now lower GI tract from the intestines and large intestine. There is some process called as Shankha Prakshalana or Lagu Shankha Prakshalana. Shankha is a conch. Prakshalana means spraying it out. So Shankha, you can, if you see a tadpole, the tadpole stomach, it looks like a Shankha conch. So when you cut the surface of a conch or seashell, it looks like an intestine. So those seniors, ancient masters have used this coining of these words to make your memory to correlate with that visual of a Shankha. It looks like Shankha, the intestine looks like a Shankha. Shankha Prakshalana, so spraying out the content of intestine. So it's a process of cleansing. So in this process you drink a lot of water, but you will not induce a gag reflex. You will just do some exercise, Tadasana and some leg movement and all those. You change the intra-abdominal pressure and you keep drinking water, exercise, keep drinking water, exercise, where this water goes beyond the stomach to the small intestine, to the large intestine, and then it will be thrown out in the form of excretion. We are throwing it out. So drink plenty of water, it will go and it will wash out the contents of small intestine and large intestine. If you are doing a complete washout, it is called as Sampurna Shankha Prakshalana. If you are doing a semi, if you are drinking a few 6 glasses to 10 glasses of water, you are not evacuating completely, but you are evacuating the bubble once or twice maybe. So that is called as Lagu. Lagu is a small Shankha Prakshalana. Lagu Shankha Prakshalana and complete Shankha Prakshalana. It's another process. And last, in yoga science, we also use yogic basti, where you use the last part of your digestive tract, that's the anus and the rectum, where you will do a Mula Bandha or Ashwini Mudra to reverse flow of the water content. So you are sitting in a water body and you are doing Ashwini Mudra, and you are sucking the water in and then you are letting it out. So that is a automatic yogic basti, where you are not using medicated contents like as in Ayurveda. There is a medicated basti enema is different, yogic enema is different. So few other things like Danta Shodhana, Jivya Shodhana, cleansing, Mula Shodhana. There are some more detailed cleansing process which will use the digestive tract. So in yogic science, we request people to have a sattvic food. Why? Because sattvic food will be easy to digest. It will not create a strain on your digestive tract. It will not make you sleepy. Why it will make you sleepy? If you have a heavy food in your stomach, the lot of blood circulation goes around that. Your parasympathetic nervous system will be active when there is a digestion or there is a rest process, where to secrete the enzymes, your parasympathetic nervous system should be active. When the food is light and nutritious, so sattva content, the pranic energy of that food is more, you will be able to digest it easily. Once you are able to digest it easily, the palatability, so the absorption will be easier and the nutrient value will be getting. At the same time, your stomach is relaxed, light. So you will be able to do your asanas, kriyas, bandhas, mudras later on easily without much efforts on your digestive system. With this reason, in yoga field, we will ask people to have a less of a tamasic food, less of a rajasic food, more of the sattvic food, for you to transform the mind, at the same time transform the body. When the body and mind are transformed, you are having good physical structure, strength of your skeletal muscles, musculoskeletal system strength is more better because you are doing long term asanas, and your mind is well controlled. Chitta Shuddhi, Chitta Nirodha is happening. The mind is well controlled. You will be able to focus your line of energy towards internalization. So, internalization of this energy, strong body and mind, you are able to sit for a meditation, for Raja Yoga for more duration. So, this duration will increase. So, in sync with mind, if the body and mind are in sync, body is strong and stable, mind is strong and stable, both are in sync, then the internal process of Kundalini evolution can happen. So, grossly, there is also content where endocrine system, the nervous system also correlated with the chakras. So, it is a endocrine system, nervous system are the grosser part, the subtle, more electromagnetic part is the chakras. So, this is how we can correlate and study anatomy. So, 7 chakras, 7 major chakras, 7 major components of endocrine system, 7 major plexus of nerves which are situated at different areas. For example, perineal plexus of nerves, it is correlating with Mooladhara chakra. So, similarly, there is an endocrine gland. In men, the testicles, testosterone. In women, there is ovaries, estrogen and progesterone. This is what part of the Mooladhara chakra. Like this, there can be correlation. There can be correlation of 7 frequencies of the world, 7 colors of the world, 7 energies of the world, 7 crystals of the world. There can be correlation, each crystal, each chakra, each, like this there can be correlation, beautiful correlation of scientific yet spiritual components in its innate nature, where this sync of balancing of left brain and right brain orientation, intuition and intelligence, and spirituality and science will be able to create a sync, and you study better. Once you study better, you will get the best out of you as a yoga teacher.